Today is all about objection soup. It seems on the outside like, I don't know, this super complex thing. However, once you understand the psychology behind why it's important to handle objections in a certain order to move the conversation forward, and you understand where the prospect is mentally, and you understand where you need to be mentally, then it's going to be a lot simpler. I really think that people are just not treating it like when we first learned how to tie our shoes. When we were little, if you can remember, when you first learned how to tie your shoes, you practiced every chance that you got, not just when you were going out, but you wanted to make sure that you knew how to do it, right? You were like, Mom or Dad, show me how to tie my shoes. And then they would show you like the two bunny ears, and then you wrap it around each other, and then you put it through the loop, and then you pull it, and you do it over and over and over again. You might go in your room when no one's looking and keep doing it over and over and over again, so that way you don't embarrass yourself until you got it. And now we don't even think about tying our shoes anymore. And if you think, okay, that's just one obvious example, it's like, okay, well, you did it again when you were learning how to ride a bike, right? Every chance you got on the bike, and you would ride around, even if it was just a few minutes after school, because you wanted to get better at riding a bike. And now we don't think about it. And then you did it again when you learned how to drive. You would practice a lot before you actually took your driving test, right? You made sure you knew how to parallel park. You made sure you know how to, go into different lanes, make sure you know where to check. You make sure how to, keep track of your speed, right? And same thing when you went to uni. Well, yeah, it's like you're gonna study and study and study before exams so you don't fumble it, right? Same thing. However, when it comes to sales, we think, okay, I've got some frameworks, I've got some word tracks, let me show up to the call and hope for the best. Doesn't work that way. The same exact thing. The only reason I feel comfortable knowing where I'm gonna go, no matter where the conversation takes me, is because of reps. That's it. The only thing that separates the people who are sweating and freaking out and the ones who can lay back and enjoy the conversation is reps. That's it. So the moral of the spiel is when you think you're doing enough reps, you're not. Do like 5x more than that or 10x more than that. Because this is the stuff we're going to go through today. This is the stuff that's not taught anywhere, because it's just like when you have the tools, when you have the frameworks, the word tracks, understanding how to handle each of the objections, when you have that, it's up to you to put it together, like, okay, what makes the most sense to drive it forward? Now, that was something that was really hard for me to put together. And so that's why through tons and tons of reps, I realized doing things in a certain order is efficient and gets it done faster, because I don't like talking a lot in objection handling. I don't like sitting in the pocket for a long time. No one likes it, right? And so we're gonna figure out what the most efficient way is to handle these things so that we're not sitting in the pocket, sweating, and praying that this prospect just pulls out their card. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to walk through it. So let's cut through the BS once and for all, because at the end of the day, when people give us 3, 4, 5 objections, it's a lot of BS. And so let's cut through it as fast as possible. Game plan. First thing we're going to do is really understand the why behind it. Why prospects just throw a bunch of stuff at us. What's going on with their mindset, what's going on with our mindset, and how to prevent it. Okay. Part 2 is going to be understanding the order for all the objection soup combos that you guys gave me, so you guys can deal with it on your calls easily. So shortening your learning curve, that's the goal here. And then I'm going to do some call reviews of you guys. So if you guys have calls that you want me to look at where you just got a ton of objections and you felt lost in the sauce, prepare those. If it's a Fathom link, please make sure you have the right link, because sometimes, the wrong link just sends me to create my own Fathom. So just make sure you guys have the right one so I can take a look at those at the end, okay? Now, in terms of the prospect's mindset, the moment you drop the investment, or the moment it's time for them to actually make a decision, their fight or flight response kicks in, and the prospect thinks of every reason to not invest. Even if they know intellectually that they do need your help to achieve all their goals, it's automatically just to protect themselves. Their mind goes into, well, actually the holidays are coming up, and well, we're remodeling our kitchen, so we probably shouldn't do this now. We should do it next year. Like, things that make no sense because they're not in alignment with their goals. That's what pops into their mind. Because now in 2024, investing your hard-earned money is equivalent to getting chased by a woolly mammoth, I don't know, or a bear or saber-toothed tiger. Back in the day, that's what humans had to worry about. Today, it's, oh my gosh, I'm going to give my money and I'm not going to get the return. It's so scary. And so that is why it's so important that we understand where they're at so we can relax, understand that it's not personal, and we can help them. And in some cases, they just don't respect you enough to be straightforward, but that goes back to preventing it, which we can do, thankfully. In some cases, they just don't have the courage to be honest with you. And so they just give you a bunch of crap and to see what you'll accept and let them off the hook with. And we're not letting anyone off the hook, because our job is to be the expert, to solve the problems, all the obstacles they drop, whether they're BS or not. We need to get them out of the way. We are here to lead, and we are here to move the conversation forward. All these things, guys, like all these things here, I'm the expert, I'm here to lead, I'm here to move the conversation forward. These are things that I'm not just saying because they sound good. These are things that I had on a sticky note for over a year and a half. I had on a sticky note on my monitor. I'm trying to see now if I can find a picture of it. I just thought to show you guys that. Let's see if I can find a picture on my phone here. But all of these things were on my computer monitor, so that way while I was on a call, I would be able to look at it and remember this. So if you need a reminder, there's no shame in that. Write it on a sticky note, write it on a piece of paper, stick some tape on it, put it on your monitor, whatever resonates with you. If it's, I am a leader, put that. I had all of these. I had, I am a lion. I'm here to move the conversation forward, and I'm here to lead, because I literally could, in the moment, I just would forget. So there's no shame. Write it down, stick it on your monitor so you see it every day. Write it right now. If you take notes on a notebook, write it down on the top page, on the top of your page, so that way you don't forget. Okay. Perhaps when I take a break, I can show you the sticky note. I think when I went to New York, I took a picture of it, because when I was in New York a couple weeks ago, I was like, it just brought me to tears. It was so nostalgic to see, because even though it was only 5 months ago since I left New York, I was just like, holy shit, I can't believe this is where the magic happened. This tiny little desk in this tiny little room with my sticky notes there, because I forgot that I had those there. But yes, this is very important. I'll see if I can find the picture later during a break. So, how to prevent objection soup. Number one is to address the red flags in discovery. I know we've talked a lot in past trainings and pretty much every week on the importance of tackling red flags in the moment, because this is where you earn your respect in the conversation. This is where it happens. If someone says, yeah, I work 16 hours a day and I barely have time to sleep, I'm so tired, sorry. And then you're just like, okay, no worries, no worries. And then you just move on. You can't be surprised at the end when they're like, I don't know if I can do this. I have to talk to my husband and I don't even know if I have the time anyway. So I have to get back to you on that. I have a lot to think about. It's not, it's like when, it's not a surprise when that comes in the end, if you didn't address what they said. So when someone says, oh yeah, I work 16 hours a day, it's, you know, it's crazy, I'm working a lot right now. What do you need to do? Raise your hand if you know how to handle this red flag. Joseph.
Would you like what the yeah, would you curious and sort of be like questioning them? So it's like, okay, well, like, if you're very busy, like, do you feel like you'll actually have the time to do this? And then getting like the confirmation on that before you've, you know, dropped the price and everything like that.
Exactly. Yeah, right there in the moment in North Star. Even if it's like 2 minutes in, they just got on, they're like, sorry, I was late. I missed my alarm. I was taking a nap. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like right there, handle it. Okay. No worries. All good. Take a deep breath. You know, I know we're here today to discuss potentially starting a TikTok shop. I'm hearing that you're working 16 hours a day. Is that every day? Yeah, 6 days a week, actually. And then I just spend Sunday with my family. Okay. So that being said, do you have the time in your schedule to work on building a TikTok shop? Right there in the moment, handle it, get it done. Okay. Another one, priorities. Priorities and time, sometimes they're one and the same, but the reason why I put time bandwidth is because if someone logistically actually works like 14, 16 hours a day, they don't have it because they need to sleep at some point. So unless they're committed to going all in on their one day off or whatever the case is, it's not a case of priorities. It's a case of like, do they actually have the bandwidth? And then priorities is a different story. Priorities is like, if the person says, oh yeah, no, like I haven't worked out or been in the gym in the last 4 years because, you know, I had a baby, we had twins 4 years ago, and it was just, you know, focused all my time on that. Okay. Well, you know, you need to find out now if they're ready to prioritize their fitness. So that needs to be handled. Because then at the end, if you don't handle it, it's, well, I'm very busy right now. I just need to look at my schedule to see if I have time for the workouts. And I need to talk to my husband to see if maybe he can like help with the kids while I'm at the gym. And I need to, you know, we're going on vacation as well. So I need to think about that. All this crap. All because you didn't handle this. Mindset, another red flag. If you don't handle it in objection, in discovery, this is where you're gonna get, you know, a lack of belief in themselves, or they think everyone's a scam, or they think making money online is a scam, and you're like, that's out of left field. What? That's out of left field. And then you're gonna get a bunch of other crap with it too. Because that's what soup is. It's like you didn't handle a major red flag, and now you're getting that. And then it's like, well, I also need to remodel my kitchen anyway. So like, I don't know, I'll do my due diligence and then come back to you after the remodel because that doesn't make sense right now to spend money on this. Because you didn't handle that. And so mindset could be a variety of things. It could be a lack of belief in themselves, a lack of belief in the industry, a lack of belief in the company. It could be, you know, that their priorities are off. That could be a mindset thing too. Partner. This is huge. I don't know why people don't say this, but like, this is a thing. This is the thing. Now, do I always try to pre-handle partner in discovery? No. But if they're newly married or expecting a baby, hell yeah. Because regardless of the nature of the relationship, when they're in this point in their life, they're very like I can't do anything without my partner. Like they're my life person. I won't even buy a burger without consulting my partner. That's just how they are. I'm being dramatic, but that's really how people are. And it's cute and it's beautiful and it's amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's adorable. It's amazing. But as closers, we need to pick up on that and be like, cool. Does your husband know that you're looking to like start a TikTok store? No, he has no idea. Oh, interesting. You're going to get that objection. Does that make sense, guys? Like why in those cases, like you want to always handle it in discovery. You want to get the partner on the call. If she's like 8 months pregnant and about to pop, if they just got married last weekend, Who's dropping 10 grand on a program when they got married last weekend? Doesn't matter how much of a strong, independent woman or strong, independent man he is. They don't want to fuck up what they just tied the knot last weekend. They don't want to fuck that up. And I say this because I notice the pattern every single time. And I watch the callback and I'm like, fuck, they did just get married last weekend. So silly. Silly me for thinking, oh, this guy has like 2 businesses. He can make his own decisions. No, he's on a leash right now. Okay. Traveling. If someone says, just casually mentions in passing that they're going to travel to India for 2 months to go on a meditation retreat. Oh, cool. Good for you. Fantastic. And then you move on to the next question. When you get to the end of the call, it's going to be like, thanks for the information. This is awesome. Yeah. So in 2 months, when I get back from India, I'm happy to revisit this. Can you just send everything to me in an email? And then I also need to take that time to also talk to my partner. And then I need to look at my schedule when I come back to make sure that I have bandwidth. It's just like, what the hell? So we got to listen out for these things. Whether it's a 2-week holiday or, something else, no matter what, if the person casually mentions they're traveling, handle it, figure out what the story is, so you can ask them, traveling aside, are you all in on doing what you need to do to achieve your goals? It's really simple, but it's things that people are missing. So any questions on that, guys? Matt?
Yeah, 2 questions. Why does it lead to, like, psychologically, why does it lead to objection soup if we don't handle it in the moment? Is it because is it just because um is it because that they're just this, like, they don't respect us, so they feel like they can just kind of throw stuff at us and we're going to be okay with it? Or what is the particular reason why? I don't know if I'm being too philosophical with this, but just
Oh, I
curious.
know. That's a good question. And I love when you guys ask questions. You guys always ask pretty good questions on these because I can't think of everything. Okay. So yes, the reason is because when you start looking out for these red flags, you'll notice it's not just one of these. It's never just one. And so when you let them pass by, they stack. And then when
Mhm.
it's the end of the call and it's time to spend 10 grand on a program, they all just come out at once because you let them slide. You didn't catch them in the first 10 minutes of the call.
Gotcha. So it's more of a matter that they come out, we just don't hear them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, if we don't even handle, because I noticed that my second question was like, are there things that you ask in particular that get some of these things released? Because I had a guy the other day that, like, last minute said, oh yeah, now I'm traveling for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, like, last minute. And then I was like, okay, I've got to handle all these other objections now. And now I've got to get them over the hurdle of taking action, with him traveling. Is there something that, one, you ask, and then it's like, it seems, to go back to my last question, it seems like if we just don't handle it, it starts to, the things that we don't even know yet come up along with the things that
Exactly.
we already heard too.
Exactly. So every time you hear a red flag, you handle it right then and there. So that way at the end, maybe like the goal, when you've done discovery well, at the end of the call, the only thing you have to worry about is logistics. Maybe a little bit of fear, but usually just logistics. That's it. That's when I know I had a good call. When at the end, it's just a matter of figuring out a payment plan or maybe give them an extra 2 weeks in the program because they're going on vacation. Like that's it.
Mhm. Um, is there anything like that you find when you ask, it kind of elicits that travel response, or kind of these nuanced, more so red flags? Because I get a lot of that travel and kind of
Yeah.
time bandwidth.
Mm-hmm. So time bandwidth, that one, they've definitely given you a red flag. They've either said, yeah, I've barely had time to do X, Y, Z, or I barely see my kids, or this and that. And you're like, ooh, fantastic. I found the pain. They barely see their kids. I'm going to dig in that in future pays. But then you don't actually ask them, like, how many hours are you working? I don't ask about traveling. It just comes up.
Hmm.
They have a trip coming up or something, or if they travel for work, or they're like, oh yeah, I'm always on the road, or whatever it is, but it's just a matter of listening for it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Costas.
Yeah, so some of these seem, pretty straightforward. It's like the time bandwidth one. It's just like, do you even have time to, start a TikTok shop? But a lot of times, 2 minutes in, 5 minutes in, I'll have people telling me like, oh yeah, the reason I, am anxious a lot is I just avoid everything or I procrastinate all the time. And these are like major red flags of fear. I'm like, okay, this person is gonna try and avoid this. Um, so yeah, when it comes to preventing that, like, is there I know they're red flags, but I just don't know how. It's like, okay, I know there's red flag, but I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, those are all mindset things. So if
Right.
they procrastinate, it's like, okay. So what I'm hearing is you you've you've had, I don't know, you've had some answers, or you had plans in the past that you want to do XYZ to improve your health, but then you just wait until you have like a health scare to actually do it. You wait until something happens to take action. Why is that? Oh, because, I just feel like nothing I do is actually going to work, but then I wait until I have no choice to try it. Whatever their answer is, it's like, okay, well, are you committed to changing that pattern?
Mm,
Just straight up ask, you know? Same thing
mm,
like if it's like a biz op or something where the person's saying, oh yeah, no, I've been scammed by this company and I spent 12K on this one and 5K on this one and still got no results. It's like, acknowledge it. And then it's like, are you willing to trust again?
mm,
Don't just say, oh, I'm sorry that happened, and then move on to the next question. You need a tie down. Are you willing to trust again?
mm. Okay. And then for like those newly married people, like how do you, if you just know that's going to be the case, do you reschedule with the partner, or is there a way to handle that?
Just get clarity on the situation.
Mm,
Like I get clarity on are they is their partner involved in this thing? If it's, their health, it's like, is this something where, like, just ask, like, is your partner supportive of you just investing in all these things, especially if they've invested in a lot in the past? It's like, I'm curious, like, how is this affecting your partner? For you specifically, Kostas, because it's a nutrition thing, a health thing. It's like what you've been dealing with for the past 5 years. How is it affecting your husband? So you can get a glimpse of what's going on. Maybe it's a case where he has no idea and, he's not really, she doesn't talk to him about that stuff because he just doesn't get it. And she just talks to her girlfriends about it. Or she talks to him about it. He's constantly, giving her emotional support around her health. And he's very supportive of her investing in anything she can to find the answer. But whatever
right.
the situation is, you don't know until you ask. How's it
Yeah,
affect?
I think I'll get the info. It's just the tie downs I struggle with, like especially early in discovery. It's like, how do I get a tie down in North Star?
Yeah, it's like, so if it's a case where, yeah, my husband's like, he's sick of me investing in all these different coaches and programs and nutrition plans. And it's like, okay, so we'll first get clarity on the situation. Maybe she's invested a shit ton of money on, in the past and still got no results. And then ask her, your partner not being supportive of you investing so much into this. It's like, how does that make you feel first? And then are you committed to finding an answer regardless of that?
Are you committed?
Always, are you committed?
Are you committed? Okay.
Okay. But remember, guys, just like with everything, always want to um get you always want to get clarity on the situation before you ask for the tie down, before you ask for their commitment. Because you can't ask for their commitment if you don't really know the situation. It's the same thing, like you're not going to propose to someone if you're not really sure if they're going to say yes, because you don't have context if they even like you or not, or if they like themselves or not, in this case. Does that make sense, guys? Yes. Elisa, did you have a question?
Hi, Princess. It's about the traveling. I did have that lately, and we had a really good discovery. He was like, I'm done procrastinating. Like that was his whole thing. But then at the end, it was like, oh yeah, I'm leaving for Spain for a month. So I'm like, I was wondering, is it like just a smoke screen, or like how do you handle that objection when when it's not in discovery and they just pop it out at the end? Like,
Yeah.
how would you handle that? Because I feel like with the holidays coming, like even in the summertime, people travel a lot. Like I know, like how do you handle that?
Yeah, it's coming a lot, especially with the holidays. That's one of the reasons why I feel like this is a great time to learn this. So traveling, if you're getting that at the end of the call, and it's a great thing if that's all you're getting, that's great because
Yeah.
you handle it logistically. It's really just a matter of, okay, you know, if he's going to be gone for a whole month, it's like, let's get you set up, get you access to everything straight away. You can dive into the, you know, if there's online training, if it's okay with your business owner slash manager, if it's okay with them to give them an extra month in the program, maybe during that month they don't attend the coaching calls, but they still have access to the online materials, whatever it is that's okay with them for you to do, just solve it logistically.
Yeah. And I mentioned that to him, and he was like, well, and then I think, and then I should have pressed him more on like, you know, is this just you like going back to what we talked about, you just procrastinating and putting it off? Like thinking back, I should have maybe dug into that, which made me think it was a smokescreen because I did offer that up, and then he was just like, well, I just need to, you know, it's a big decision, and it was just like all the nonsense, you know, which is a completely other topic, but yeah, it's just more like a logistical thing at that point.
Yeah, if it's just travel
Okay.
time, it's just solving it logistically, which is really simple. I love logistical
Yeah.
objections. They're very easy. Most
Yeah.
of them get
Well,
solved by just giving them a couple extra weeks in the program, you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Perfect.
So, let's see. Nicholas, you had a question. What's up?
Yeah. Like, how do you know when you've actually like handled that obstacle? So like, you know, what she just said, where it's like somebody will say, hey, I don't have the time, and then you overcome that and, you know, discovery, then they bring it back up again, you know, or they say, no, I'm going to make the priorities, but then come again, object. Like, how do you make sure like you actually like close the door in discovery specifically?
Yeah. It's like, it's always just, it's always just getting them to say a yes. So always ending, whether it's a reframe or it's just a commitment question, that they say yes. If they say yes, if they say, for example,
So like the
mindset.
issue, yeah. So the issue that I run into personally is like I'll get somebody like on a call and they're like, "Well, I know what to do, but I'm just not doing it," right? And then I'll kind of go with the reframe of like, okay, so like if you knew what to do, then like respectfully, like why are we on this call, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? And then we kind of go down that route. But then when it comes to the end, it's like, well, I know what to do. You know, I just haven't been doing it. I'll just get off my ass now and do it. And it's like, okay, like how do you actually make sure that's actually like they'll say yes, but then they'll just go back and contradict themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, first you need to get clarity on the situation. I know I'm like a broken record of clarity, but like this is really key because if you don't know if they actually know what to do, they might think, oh, the key to lose 30 pounds is to drink green tea. They don't actually know, you know what I mean? So you don't know that they know. So if they say, I know what to do, it's like, okay, what is it that you feel you should be doing that you're not doing? Yeah, just, you know, stop drinking soda, stop drinking alcohol and start drinking tea. And you're like, okay, do you genuinely feel like if that's all you did, you would lose the 30 pounds? Yes. Okay, now you know they're Delulu, and you got to solve that first, and then get some commitment to actually learn the right thing, whether that's with you or not with you. However, you know, make learning about the right thing to do, about understanding their metabolism and XYZ, so that way it can be with you because that's what you offer. So first thing, you just got to get clarity on the situation and then get that commitment. Same with everything. Does that make sense, Nicholas?
It definitely goes back to the get clarity thing again, just going deeper and like understanding. And I think that's my biggest downfall right now is I'm just kind of assuming, like if somebody says again, we talked about this, somebody says, hey, you know, like, you know, I feel better. I just kind of assume what feel better means or whatever. So I just gotta focus on that. And then I definitely feel like that's gonna help. So thank you.
Yeah. What I recommend you do, Nicholas, and guys, when I tell you that these are things that I did, like I'm not saying it to be funny, I'm not bullshitting you. If I were you, this is what I did. Whenever there was something I just kept forgetting to do, I would write it on my hand, like literally with a pen, write it on my hand. So for you, write clarity. In the beginning of your day, write clarity in big letters. Sometimes I would get embarrassed on a call where I would show my hand and they would see writing and be like, oh, I made a note on my hand earlier. Ignore that. Like I'd get embarrassed because they'll accidentally see me. I wrote something, but it's like, who gives a shit? You will remind yourself as you're speaking, you know, when you look away, when you look down, you see the word clarity right there and you'll remember. I did this every single day. Every day it might have been something different. Maybe 4 days in a row it was the same thing. I remember the most common things I would write on my hand are expert, clarity, gap equals, I'm sorry, time equals gap. All those things that I would just forget, I wrote it on my hand. So if it doesn't work for you to write it at the top of your notebook page, that's another one I did, was write it on the top of my notebook page. But if I still kept forgetting because I was so nervous I didn't look down, I wrote it on the top of my notebook page. Look, every time I need to remember something, I'll show you again. Here's my notebook where I take notes. Right here it says no exclusivity, because I had to remind myself that, oh, we're not offering territory exclusivity to our agents anymore. So I had to write it because I would forget. And if I still would forget, I'd write it on my hand. Another one, another page. Look. Challenge. Curious. I had to remind myself to be curious. I write it on my call before the call. This one ended up being not qualified, but still. Challenge. Curious. Guarantee, because I kept forgetting. We have a sick guarantee, so I would write it on top of my notebook page. All these things I say that I do, I'm not joking. Let me turn to another page. Turn to another page here. Let's see. Try to find a different one. I'm always like, you got to remind yourself of these things. Let's see. They're all the same things. Like, be curious, challenge, time equals gap. Like always. So like, you just got to remind yourself. There's no shame in that, guys. Let's see. Kevin, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do, Princess. Thank you. I'm just wondering how hard we're going in on these, because all of these look like smoke screens to me, apart from the partner.
Yeah.
So like the partner now becomes a logistical problem if you're talking in that context, like they're newly married or they're pregnant, right? So how hard do you go? Like that could be genuinely, truly the objection. Like that's the way I look at it. Right.
Well, that's why.
So that then falls into the logistical bucket. So do you go heavy on that one then?
Yes, it's always just a matter of tying it off by either A, getting the partner on the call if they're home and they're able to jump on, B, rescheduling for a time when the partner can jump on, or C, getting the person to tie down that yes, they can make the decision without their partner and getting a real solid yes. So it's going to go in one of those three directions.
Okay.
Yeah. But either way, we need clarity on that, and we need to like make sure that that's solved, so that way at the end we're not
So it
blind.
doesn't come back around.
Yeah.
I get you.
Good. Zach, did you have another question? Or is your hand just up earlier?
No, I do have a question. That answered one of the questions I had. The partner, like, I've asked the question trying to like get in before it, because I've just noticed that a lot in real estate. Like, should there be anyone else on the call? They'll give me a response where it's like, yeah, I'm spearheading this, but there's always a but. My partner will be doing the interior design, or this or that or that. At that point, because they've said they're spearheading that, should I tie that down like one or two more times to kind of nick it in the bud, or is that creating a partner objection at the end?
Wait, why would it create a partner objection? I don't get it.
I guess because I've given it power.
No. Is this the case like a business partner one, or it doesn't matter?
More like their wife, their husband.
So no, because it's not, you're not giving it power. If they've mentioned that they just got married, like they gave it power. If they mention that they're expecting a baby, there's already built-in power. So you're not giving it power. Now, if they don't even mention a partner and you're like, do you have a partner you need to run this by? That's out of the blue. It's like, then that's a different story.
Yeah, okay. Because I guess how I'm wording that is, should there be anyone else on this call?
Yeah.
And
you'll
they're going,
yeah. Whether it's a business partner or a romantic
Mm.
partner, you're going to hear it. Because if they say, yeah, you know, we want to achieve 20K a month, red flag, who's we?
Yeah.
Person here. Uh-oh. So I want to find out what, who's we. So just
I'm
ask.
glad you're going over this, because I've recently just put the script to the side and actually just tried to listen a lot more. And like, I'm just hearing all this red flag, all this bullshit come up. And the big one, like I'm starting to really identify that fear really early on. I guess like if you're hearing like a fear of the past, and it's like a fear of a past and mixed into a fear of like you as like a company, right? Are you attacking that right off the bat with like the analogy framework that we objection handle with, or are you massaging that first and then kind of going a bit deeper on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where like that kind of falls into mindset, where it's like when people just bring up just having a bad experience in the past at all, it's like you want to find out, like, are they actually willing to trust again? Don't wait till the end to handle it. Why? When you can handle it now.
Okay. So just hitting them with that question, like, well, I guess what I'm asking is like, you don't want to go into, man, are you married? You know, your whole past partner analogy right then and there, go into the analogy framework and almost like objection handle from that point? Or do you just want to hit them with like a pretty light, are you willing to trust again? And then go from there.
It's not
Does
light.
that make sense? Yeah.
There's nothing light about that question. It's not light. I need to know, like, are they actually ready to trust again, or not moving forward with the conversation? And then
Okay. And what
it's like, why? You know?
Okay. And then like say if they give you something like, oh man, like I don't know, like I'd have to see what you guys do first. Are you nailing down again?
Yeah, because that's not a good
Yeah.
answer. That doesn't make any sense. You don't
It's
need to see
bullshit,
what
yeah.
I need to trust me. It's just, are you willing to trust again in general? Are you willing to trust another company again, another coach again, another mentor again?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what we do.
And I guess like the same thing, like what I'm running into with this Airbnb stuff. It's not so much a fear of themselves or a fear of us. It's almost like a fear of the model itself. I guess that is a fear of us. I guess I've gone with a route when I hear that uncertainty going, okay, and how long have you been following us for? Oh, 6 months, 12 months. And how long have you known about the Airbnb stuff for? A year? Okay, so from what you've seen so far, do you feel like there's any reason this couldn't work out for you? To try like nail it down? Is that the way to go about it, or is there a different way to handle that model?
Yeah, I wouldn't ask like, do you feel like this, any reason this wouldn't work out for you? I mean, if you're speaking about the business model generally, then yes, that's fine. But if it's a case where like, yeah, like if they tried other things and failed, definitely want to get a tie down on the business model. Like why Airbnb? Always. Like when I used to sell Airbnb last year, I always asked, why Airbnb? Why? Because I don't want to, I'm not pitching somebody who's looking at Airbnb, they're looking at wholesaling, they're looking at crypto. Like, no, this is what you want to do. Okay.
Okay, gotcha. Get ahead of it. Now that gives me some clarity. That's awesome.
Good. Very good, very good. Let's see, Brian, what do you have?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask because obviously everything this class teaches is purely a process about how to get through objections. Should we kind of treat these things in the discovery as like an objection that you're kind of gonna funnel it down to a binary to get that yes or that no, to you've identified it by actually listening and then normalize it with people have problems with time or priorities or mindsets all the time, and try and make a couple of jokes about it, but then try and get to a binary so that you can move forward, but you kind of treat it all the same way so you keep a process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. These are all objections. All of them. And they always come out in the beginning. Always, 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 as long as you're listening. Okay. And I want you guys to get to a point where your process is so dialed that only thing you have to deal with at the end is logistics. It is the best feeling ever. You feel like, man, I did work for this. I worked for this quote unquote objectionless close. If it's just logistics, like it's pretty much objectionless in my eyes, because it's like just sort out the numbers or sort out time. It's good. That's what we want. Is it doable to do pretty often? Yes, as long as you dial this in, trust me. And so once you understand that they come up in the beginning, then you're good. You're solid. Okay. It's only when I fuck up in the beginning that I have to deal with them at the end. So let's see. Chazar, question, what you got?
So even for fear of, the future, I guess, when they say, I typically, if they just give you the idea that they fear starting because they haven't done it before or they don't know what will happen? Do you just handle it as a typical objection, just like you would do in the end?
Oh, heck yeah. If in discovery, they're like, yeah, like I'm nervous because I've never actually started a business before. It's like, oh yeah, I totally get that. Like that's normal. Normalize it. And then it's like, are you willing to let that fear hold you back from actually starting though? No. Why? Because I want to create a better
Okay.
life, family, XYZ. Okay. Are you sure? Because you don't have to. Like, no one has to start a business, right? Like, you could just work extra hours at work, get paid overtime. Like, why not just do that? No, because I want to spend more time with my kids and this and that. Okay. So, and then
Yeah.
move on. Now you know they're locked in. That's done. Will fear
Mhm.
come up at the end when the money's on the table? It might come back, but guess what? They're more likely to overcome it themselves because you helped them overcome it 30 minutes ago in discovery. So they're able to work it through the same process that you walk them through. Happens all the time. Okay. So the key is to get deep in discovery as well, because when you get deep in discovery, nothing else matters for the prospect except making a change. When you get them to a point where they're feeling, at the end of consequence, they're feeling so empowered, they're feeling like enough is enough, and they're ready to just go all in and back themselves, nothing else matters. The kitchen remodel doesn't matter. Christmas doesn't matter. The trip they have next week doesn't matter. When you've gone deep enough, when you've made it real enough, when there's enough urgency, it doesn't matter. They'll say, yes, I'm ready to come in. The only thing is, I'm going on vacation next week. Like, yeah, am I going to lose the time? That's all you have to deal with. Okay. This is the key. Hagen, do you have a question?
Yeah, real quick. So a lot of times when you're handling those objections, like in discovery, and you're maybe challenging their mindset or their time, whatever it might be, and then they just put it back on you. They're like, well, I don't even know anything about the program. You haven't told me what the time commitment was. I don't even know what you want me to do. How can I know if I can do this or not? And
Yeah.
it's like, do I stand my ground and be like, well, no, none of that matters. Like what we do works, but none of that matters if you're not willing to, go all in or whatever. So how would you handle that?
Yeah, very good question. So with time, for example, you know if your clients, if it's 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day, 3 hours a week, whatever it is they need to commit. So it's like, yeah, no worries. It's not about the program specifically. The question I'm asking you is, you mentioned you work a lot, right? Are you committed to carving out 4 hours a week to train in the gym?
Mm.
Doesn't matter about the program. Are you actually committed to carving the time out? That's all. And that goes for everything else. So yeah, you need to make it very clear. What I'm asking you has nothing to do with the program. It's a matter of if you're actually going to be successful anyway, regardless of what program you do.
Right.
Okay.
True.
Yes. Very good, very good. Now, understanding the most efficient order to handle objections, it allows you to relax because you know where you're going. I don't know about you guys, but I am so bad with direction. Like when I'm out and about in the world, like I don't go anywhere without my GPS because I will panic and I'll feel like I won't trust myself that I'm going to make the right turns. And I'm going to get lost. Even like if it's the neighborhood that I've grew up in and been in my whole life, like I will still use GPS. So it's the same thing here. It's like when you know what order to handle things, you know exactly where you need to go, no matter how many objections you got, you can relax because it's good. I know exactly what I'm going to do. So now when I get objection soup, my brain goes boom, boom, boom. This is how I'm going to handle it. And so I can sit back in my chair and I can just walk them through one by one. So pop quiz for you guys. You think about it, partner and money. What is the most efficient order? Hands up if you can tell me. Kevin Walsh.
Would you handle the money first because it's the qualifying aspect, right?
I don't know, is it?
I feel it is.
Yeah, and then what next?
then the partner, and then they think about it because it's a smoke screen. It's the easiest one to pierce, right?
Yeah, ish. So there's a little bit of a, it's a little bit of a trick answers / trick questions, trick answer, because think about it. Usually that always comes first. So you always just want to knock that out first, right? To figure out, you know, what's behind that. And then when it comes to the money, yes, you want to ask about the money first. However, you don't want to actually solve the money first. You want to find out full, partial, or none first. So
Yeah.
here's the answer. See what I did there? So money first, you find out full, partial, none, or fear, partial, none. That F, yes, full, partial, none, you want to find out. But if they have the full amount, then it's fear holding them back. Is it a case where you have the full amount, it's just a little bit of uncertainty? Fear. Partial amount or none, and we need to sell some organs. So if it helps, guys, look at it as fear, partial, none. Full, partial, none. If they have the full amount, it's fear holding them back. So that's the first thing. Yes, handle, think about it. That's always the default, is always handle, think about it first to find out what's behind it. Okay, that's the default. So in all this, the next few slides with the examples, think about it is not written there because that's just always the first thing. And then once we find out full, partial, none, you don't solve it yet. Got to get partner out of the way, the psychology behind why, so we can close the door behind partner before you sort a payment plan. Because if you don't, now they have an escape door. Yep, that's a great payment plan. Let me just run it by my wife. You're like, fuck. So that's why money first, find out if they have it full, partial, none, fear, partial, none, but don't solve it yet. We're not creating a payment plan yet. Close the door on partner, put the responsibility on them, make sure they take full ownership of their situation, and then solve the money logistics after the tie down, so you can just close after. Makes sense? Kevin Walsh?
Yep.
Yeah, so you are right. Yes.
But they're right, yeah.
Yes, but we're not solving it. That's just the caveat.
No. That's what I meant by saying the qualifying question. That's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Next one. Money, partner, fear. So this is the order that you want to handle it. Regardless of what order you get it, all these slides, I put it in the order that you're supposed to handle it. So first, money, full, partial, none, or fear, partial, none. But again, don't solve it yet. Don't solve it yet. Partner, close the door to help before you help them overcome themselves. Because if there's a fear, they need to overcome themselves, but you can't help them overcome themselves if the partner is still lurking in the conversation. You got to close the door on the partner first. Take responsibility for their life. Now you can help them feel empowered before you ask for the sale again. And then last, handle the actual money logistics, payment plan. Does that make sense, guys? Kayla, what you got?
Okay, I just am like overloaded with questions right now. Okay. First of all, can you help me understand the difference between like the full partial none versus the fear partial none? Like how would we handle that differently? Or are you just saying that it's likely fear if they have the investment?
It is fear if they have the investment.
Okay. How do I know the difference between fear and that they see a lack of value?
We're going to handle value later.
Okay.
Yep, that's another combo. I took all the combos you guys commented on my post and just created the slides with them. So you guys could see the order, okay, that you need to handle them. So we'll get to value. That's actually, I think, my pop quiz question at the end after we go through different examples. You tell me, Kayla, when we get to that one, what the order should be, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, what other question do you have?
I actually don't remember my other one, so I'll pass for now.
Yeah, when they come up, just write it down so you don't forget.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicholas.
So question, and if you get into this, then I'll shut up and we get into it later. But what about like when so I had a call the other day and I thought it was logistic because she said, think about it, it was money and it was like logistic, right? And so when we went to the payment plan, she was like, okay, awesome. Now I get to go talk to my partner about this at the end. And so like, I guess for you, like if they bring up the partner at the end, does that mean it's a smoke screen or does that mean it's like If that makes sense, like how would you kind of handle it if like they don't bring up the partner until like the last to last thing, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Is it inconvenient? Yes. Just solve it.
Okay, that's
Just
fair.
just like you would.
Okay,
That's-
that's fair.
Yeah. Typically it's used as a smokescreen, so we do get it earlier up, but if they throw it in at the end, it's because they know they're cooked and that's the last ditch effort to get off the call. So just
Okay.
handle it.
Okay, bet.
Yeah. Jack
Yeah,
O.
so I was just wondering, this is obviously at the end of the call, right? Because if somebody started giving you these objections at the top of the call, you wouldn't go like money, partner, fear.
Yeah, no. These are all at the end. So the first part was we're talking
Okay.
about preventing discovery, but now if we fumbled it and now we still have soup at the end, here's how you handle it. Okay. The rest of the
I'm with you.
is for the end.
I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, thank you.
Kayla, what's your other question?
The second, so there's always a second tie down, right? In between, or like in between the handling these things. So would we go, so like if, so we would validate money first, and then we would, well, first we'd tie down, then we'd validate money, and then we would tie down again.
So first tie down is always, again, not here to think about it. And when the getting confirmation that the program works, all that, that's always at the very top, right? And then after you handle partner, yes, to close the door on partner, there needs to be a tie down there, some sort of binary, like at the end of the day, that future 2.0 version of you, what do they do? Do they invest in themselves or do they go and talk to their partner? Just some type of tie down. Yes. And then you handle the fear and then you ask another binary. Yes. To tie it down again.
Okay.
And yeah. And in this specific case, right, it's going to be the one I just said for partner. And then at the end of fear, it's like, do you want to be are you the person who crumbles in the face of fear or who pushes forward so they can achieve their goal? I'm the person who pushes forward. Okay, amazing. So that being said, you need another tie down before you handle the money logistics, if that's in the picture. So that other tie down is going to be, okay, so that being said, if we can figure out some sort of payment structure to make things more manageable, will that help you get started today? Yes. Now handle the money logistics.
Okay, do we need to tie down on the value more than once within here?
No.
Okay.
At the very top, that's why we do it first thing, is because it gives you permission to objection handle.
Okay.
Yeah. Chazar.
I'm just confused because I remember Bill was saying that you should handle the fear before they actually go and speak to their partner, because if they go with fear, they'll just transmit fear. So I'm confused. How do you tie off the partner if you didn't handle the fear that the person themselves has?
You got to get rid of the partner from the conversation before you can actually empower the person you're speaking to. Now, if it's a case where they seriously need to talk to their partner, maybe because it's a stay-at-home mom who doesn't have her own money, then you just find that out up here. So it's either you're closing the door on it or you're getting clarity that she actually does need to go talk to her husband. If that's the case, you still need to handle the fear next. And then, have a money conversation so she can talk to the husband, or you set up a call with them both. But still, the order is still the same. It's just get clarity on the partner situation and then handle the fear. And then they're free to go unless you want to talk about payment plans and stuff so she can take that to the partner. Make sense?
Okay, so the initial situation you mentioned was when they say, I just want to run it by her or just want to tell the partner, and you close the door, then move to fear. When it's not necessarily that they really do need to speak to the partner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see. Lance. Hi, Lance.
Hey, Princess. So quick question as far as, I guess, really trying to solve the logistics at the end. If a PIF and a split pay is offered upfront as the investment, and the reason why is because if they do the PIF, they get like basically $1,000 discount, right? So I guess how would you work through the logistics around that? Or maybe I might be overthinking it.
So how would you solve the logistics like at the end after everything?
Yeah, because like, hey, if we want to make this a more manageable process for you, would that be helpful, right? Like that kind of, in my mind, that takes that out of the equation as far as helping them proceed down that path.
Why does it take it out of the equation?
I guess I'm thinking on my end as far as having I guess really switching the conversation around that. Like maybe they do have the split pay, but trying to get them to move forward from there instead of, I don't know, maybe I didn't formulate the question in my mind. That just kind of popped up and now I'm kind of verbal processing it.
Are you saying like you drop the option of a split pay at the top of the pitch?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Instead
Yeah.
of offering it through the logistic part. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no
Yeah.
big deal. Doesn't matter. You can ask again if we can figure out a more manageable plan. You can ask it again. It's okay. They don't remember. They're in fight or flight.
Okay.
Yeah, no big deal. Because now you're basically like, okay, now let's have a conversation about how we're going to, structure your investment so that way you can move forward.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, don't overthink it.
All right. Thanks.
Kayla, you look like your brain's going to explode.
In a good way though. But if you're trying to tie down partner, that would be like, okay, is this a case where, it's more, you're a little bit more uncertain, uncertain about whatever, you might have fear or something versus actually needed to talk to your partner and they say no to that. So they're still digging their heels in on the partner. Where do you go from there?
You just need to find out the real reason they want to talk to their partner, because it may not always be fear. It could just be that they feel like they can't make a decision without their partner.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes,
Don't move on.
yeah, I was gonna say money fear sometimes is what's behind partners, that they're scared to actually invest that much in themselves, so they hide behind the partner.
Okay.
Okay, next is, did I click it? Oh, no, I did. Wait. Is that where we are? Yes. Okay. So now we've got, come on. We've got, wow, that's a lot more money than I was expecting. I just need to have a lot of things to look at because I'm working a lot right now. This might be something I do in January when I get a new job. And I'm also going on vacation anyway for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go see my family. And so, yeah, I just need some time. This is that. So this is the order that you want to handle it. First, full, partial, none, because they gave them money. Now, if we got the exact same thing, but we didn't get, wow, that's a lot more money than I was expecting, we would just ignore the money and just go handle the time logistic that she gave, any other logistics, and the money. But in this case, we got, it's a lot more money than I was expecting. So you got to handle it. Full, partial, none. So we know if it's even any point in handling the other things. If they have none, then everything else, you just like erase everything else if they have none. And you just spend 45 minutes talking to someone who is like doing DoorDash and paying their bills and nothing left over. Because now you need to just figure out a game plan for them to find the money. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter that they're going on vacation. It doesn't matter, right? So this is the order. Do you guys understand why? So for full, partial, none, don't solve it yet. Handle the time, because if they're working so much that they genuinely don't even know if they can fit it into their day, then it doesn't matter that they're going to see their family in South Carolina for Thanksgiving. If they don't even know if they can find the time this week to train, right? This is why you don't want to handle the travel and, oh, don't worry, we can pause while you're away and this and that. If you don't even know if they signed up today, they could actually train today or tomorrow. So that's why you want to handle the time first and then handle any other logistics like travel. And then she said, oh, it's a lot of money. Then handle the money logistics. And then now that that's sorted, you can just close because everything else is out of the way. Okay. Chastin, do you have a question?
Yeah. Can you mention one more time about the money, why not to solve it at the beginning or?
Yes, you don't want to solve it at the beginning because if you just go straight for money, they're going to feel like, wow, they just care about my money. They just want to close me because you didn't solve the other problem. So even if you did
Okay.
the
Gotcha.
most, if you went for, this is what the basic closers do. They go straight for money. And that makes people feel like you don't actually care about them because they gave you all these other concerns and you ignored it. And you're like, okay, you have a payment plan now. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, because the money is the easiest to deal with.
I literally say that. I'm like, okay, finances aside, because once I find out it's not a none. If it's a
Yeah.
full or partial, fantastic. Like finances, that's the easiest thing to solve, the easiest logistic. Let's put that to the side. You mentioned that you are working a lot and need to find time in your schedule. Let's talk about that. What hour, when do you start working and what time do you get home? You know, and we sort together. We sort it out together. And then once that's sorted, I know that, okay, if she signs up today, then she can start training tomorrow. Now I'm going to handle the traveling for Thanksgiving because it's going to be a concern. If you don't handle it, it's going to come back. When she's ready to pull out her credit card, it's like, wait, but I'm going away for Thanksgiving. Like, I don't want to miss the time. No worries. So you might as well handle it now. Kim, do you have a question?
Yeah, because sometimes I notice prospects like won't, I guess, answer straight up when it comes to full, partial, none because they're so consumed in like every other excuse or like maybe the fear is coming up. So it's like even hard for me to get some kind of answer there sometimes. Any recommendations for that?
Honestly, like, just stand firm. Like, stand firm on it, really. Depending on the situation, if there's just a shit ton of fear and they're just like, I would just use my intuition, use my EQ, and just say, okay, let's put the finances to the side. And it's okay for me if I don't have an answer yet. I won't be like upset if I get to the end and I find out they only have $100 left after bills. Like it's like, shit, well, I'm going to sit here with you and figure it out. It's not ideal though, but if the person's just so scared that, you know, they can't answer it, that's okay. We're going to shelf it. Let's talk about whatever other concern. Maybe it is just like fear. We need to handle it first. That's fine. So that is an example of a case where it's like, what's the word? It's an outlier but yeah, sometimes people do have that much fear. We just need to handle the fear first. Okay. And typically if someone's not willing to answer, it's because they have some cash anyway. If they have none, they just straight will be like, yeah, I have nothing. People who are the brokest, they will tell you that straight away. Like, I don't want to waste your time. I have nothing. All right. So it is a good sign if they don't want to answer the question because they know you're going to cook them because they have the funds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I actually never thought about it that way. I always thought like if they didn't answer, it was maybe because like they probably didn't have the finances. No, but I really love that because like this new offer that I'm on, they're actually really, really good when it comes down to payment plans. So like we can even get it down to like 200, $600 a month. And then we still get like 75% cash collected up front. So this is going to be a game changer.
Yeah, good. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, just keep that in mind, guys. If someone is like keeping their cards close to their chest, that's because they have the money. People who have nothing are not going to sit here and pretend they have it. They're not going to waste their own time like that. Lewis?
Yes, Lewis. Yes, fine.
Lewis.
There we go. I suppose when people start giving you like objection soup and you've kind of like you've handled every single one, would you ever like just start bringing the other possible objections to the table and just be like, are there any other reasons we shouldn't do this just so like it doesn't come back around, or would that just be doing it for the sake of it?
No, I would do that. Like once I handle other things, if I feel like there's something lurking, I'll be like, okay, so the time, we found that time out. So you're going to wake up early Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to work on this. And I'll give you an extra 2 weeks in the program. So that'll make up for the time you'll be traveling. And now we have a payment structure that makes sense. Is there anything else getting in the way of you diving in and getting started? No. Are you sure? Nothing at all? You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. So let's get started.
Would you ever like spoon feed them the answer, even just to like double check? Like, let's say if they didn't say the partner, and then you bring it up, or would that just be,
No. You're having too much fun with objection handling at that point. It's like, relax. Okay, relax. There's another call. Someone's waiting for you. Let's move on. Okay.
That's fine. Perfect.
Yeah. Chizar.
If they say they don't have time, and in the attempt to solve that, would you even do something like, okay, there's 168 hours in the week, like you're sleeping X number of hours, and subtract. This is what you're left with. Like, are you willing to commit these, or what are you doing in these hours? Would you have that approach, or do you just ask, okay, when do you go to work? When do you come back? How much time you spend with your family? So what's left?
I mean, you tell me which one sounds easier to you and more efficient. Starting from 168 hours in a week. I didn't even know it was 168 hours in a week.
Okay.
Is that more efficient for
yeah,
you, or asking what time do you go to work, what time do you come home?
of course, yeah, the second one, when you put it like that, is just that I mean, I know some people, for example, in fitness, they say I already work a lot and I want to spend time with my family. And like, okay, what does time spent with the family mean? Like, maybe you can ask that specifically, like,
Yeah,
how much time do you actually spend with them?
that's part of figuring it out with them. Because it's like, okay, get home at 5 o'clock. What happens at 5 o'clock? Can you run to the gym on the way home? Can you, help your kids with their homework and then go to the gym? Like, what does it look like after 5 o'clock? It's just
Yeah,
helping them out. That's all.
and give solutions that they might not see themselves. That's
Absolutely.
also another point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Logistics is all about just working it out with them. It's up to you. If you want to choose the more complicated route, it's not going to help you close more deals. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to start pulling out big numbers like 168 hours, because number one, it can be a little what's the word, patronizing, to be like, there's 168 hours a week. Like, it's like, they know that. Well, I didn't know that, so maybe they don't know that, but doesn't matter. It's just,
Okay. Thank you.
here's your schedule. Okay. Next. This is a big one. If Jaden is here, Jaden, you inspired this one. When you get these two fears, this is the order. You got to do it. Because if you get fear of you as a business, they don't trust you. Well, you have no business helping them overcome their fear, empowering them. You have no business saying anything in this regard if they don't trust you, right? Seems like common sense. But common sense isn't so common anymore, and it's okay. It's okay. We're going to fix it. So if they hit you with, I don't know, I need to do my due diligence on you guys, and I don't even know. This is something that's just, I've never done before. So I don't know if I'll actually get the result. You can't sit here and break out analogies about, well, when you were learning how to drive and this and that, if they think you're going to scam them and run to Vegas with their money. So you have to handle the scam, due diligence, fear of the company, fear of you first. Make sense, guys? Matt, do you have a question?
Yeah, super quick. You know how you get like that vague fear? There's like you can just tell that but it's not like pinpointed specifically. Maybe that's just an issue with my skill set, but if they're like, do you double check that if you're not sure? You're like, you just kind of like briefly just say like, basically, do you trust us like to get you to your goals? And then you get the certainty there, and then you move on to, okay, what is it? And then do you just go a little bit more specific with the next question?
Yeah, if you're just not sure what fear it is, just ask.
Okay.
And insert. And remember, guys, I will always say this. I will die on this hill. Whenever inserting fears, I will always insert fear of you, like the prospect actually getting the result. I'm never going to insert fear of us or company, ever. Y'all want to play around with that, you do that. But I'm not inserting scam. I'm not inserting that in the conversation if they didn't give it to me. Unless they do give it to me in a subtle way where they say, oh, I just met you. And then they did give it to you.
So if they don't mention anything and you can tell there's some fear, uncertainty here or some fear somewhere, you would never just say, you'd never drop that seed of doubt in us.
Some people do that. They're like, are you worried that we're going to scam you? Like, I'm not inserting that in the conversation because I don't want to deal with that. They didn't give me any hint that they think I'm going to take their money and run. I'm not inserting that.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because now if they latch onto it as a smokescreen, now I have to handle it. It's like, damn it.
100%.
So it'll always be the way I insert it, fear is like, is it a case of uncertainty because this is something you've never done before?
Mm,
That's easy to handle.
gotcha. Thank you.
And just empower them. Okay, simple. Next. Rowan's example. I thought this was so funny when I saw his comment under my post. He said, think about it, partner, shopping, time, fear. This is the order. This is the order you want to do it. So think about it. That goes without saying. That goes first. This is why order is so important to move it forward. Because if they can't do it logistically, time-wise, then it doesn't matter that they're shopping. And next, you got to handle shopping after you handle time, because if what you're doing is not even what they're looking for, then it doesn't matter that they want to talk to their partner. If this is not even what they're looking for, why would you have them take responsibility and all this stuff if they're looking for something cheaper anyway? You're going to waste your time. And then partner, okay, get clarity on why the partner, and then close the door on it, because you got to get the partner out of the conversation before the fear. So the way someone would actually deliver this objection is just like, yeah, I'm working a lot right now, so maybe I need to actually look at doing this in the new year. And I'm also looking at other options to find something, you know, that might be a little bit more affordable, because I was not expecting 10K. And then when I do find the right thing, I do need to talk to my husband anyway. I don't even know if this is possible, so I have a lot to think about. Just like, what? Is it highly likely that someone will give you all of these? No. But for fun, it's good to know how to handle it and why. The key is to understand why, like the justifications of why you've got to handle one before the other. It's like a domino effect. Okay. Let's see, Nicholas.
So is an objection soup like when they give you a bunch of things? 'Cause like for this, I see it being like he overcomes time, then they say I'm shopping, then you overcome shopping, then they go over partner, then you overcome partner, then it goes on to fear. Like that's how I kind of see this situation playing out.
Sometimes it's one at a time. Sometimes they'll just give you time and shopping, or maybe they'll just give you shopping and partner. Like sometimes it's one at a time or two at a time. Or sometimes they just blurt everything out because they're in fight or flight and they want to run off the call. So regardless of how it goes, just understand psychologically why it's important to handle it in this order. So that way, regardless of how you get it, you know what's important to handle before the next one. Make sense?
That makes, yep.
Yeah, good. Good. Costas?
Something I just thought of is if someone were to blurt out, 5 different things like that, would it be helpful, they're clearly just wanting to run, like to almost call that out and not ask for permission, but like open them up to the idea of like, hey, like, sounds like you have a million things going on, whether it's working with us or anyone else. Would you be open to just kind of chatting through some of these things to see if you're going to be able to do this like at all with us at any point with anyone? Because you're like almost asking like, hey, like, can I like help you? Just like regardless of this decision, like just think through a couple of these things, because otherwise nothing's going to happen. Like, would you ever pre-frame it before you start moving into the first one?
Yeah, sometimes I'm like straight up, I'll say, okay, that was a lot. Let's work through it one by one. So the first thing, you mentioned time because you are working 7 days a week for 12 hours. And then I'm handling it. Like I will literally say, let's go this one by one.
Got it.
Like, this is a checklist. Yeah. There's no need to hide. Like this is what we're doing. Okay. Chazar?
Yeah, so the list that I've written here in the comments, like fear of me as the salesperson, money if mentioned, time, shopping, partner, fear, is that pretty much like a general order of priorities? That sounds right?
List it out again. I have to write it down. Say it again.
I'll send it again. Can you see it in the comments?
No, I can't see the chat right now.
Okay. So fear of me as the salesperson, the first one, then money if mentioned, then time, shopping, partner, fear. Like, is there anything like, is this like just the correct?
Yeah, the correct
no,
order.
Yeah.
Money. Yeah, money, remember it's full, partial, none, don't solve it yet. And then time, shopping, partner, fear, and then money logistics at the end. Yes. You gotta put logistics at the end. Okay. Actually, the payment plan.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. That is it. That's
Cool.
correct. So does everyone have clarity on this and why it's important that you need to knock down one domino before another? If it doesn't make sense, now is the time to ask. All good? Good. No more wasting our time. No more, you know, handling partner. And it's like, yes, partner's out of the conversation. And they're like, well, I'm just still going to talk to the other companies. You're like, fuck, like you just wasted like 5 minutes handling partner. And then maybe you handle partner and by some miracle, you handle shopping. And then they're like, yeah, no, this is great. You guys are awesome. You're so great at your job. I just need to like go look at my calendar to see when I can do this because you didn't take care of this. Or you handle fear first and you're like, yes, they're empowered. They're all in. Now you've just empowered them to go close on the next call because they had another one booked for tomorrow. Okay. Kayla?
So if you check off time, you check off shopping. When you address partner, what's the question? Like, are we going back to the framework and asking like, what's kind of coming up for you that makes you want to go talk to your partner? Or are we like using the other two objections, pulling that in and saying, and trying to just like tie off partner right there?
So once you get clarity on like what they're looking for, that's done. It's clear that what you have is exactly what they need, and they realize they don't actually need to waste their time talking to other people. Now it's like, okay, so you mentioned, you know, running things by your husband. Like, I'm curious, like, what is it that's coming up for you? So yes, the answer is yes. You want to ask just like that to get clarity on why.
Okay.
Might be a money. Now we got to throw another one in there. Now it's 6 things, like, you know. So just finding out why, because it could just be a smokescreen. It could be a legitimate money thing where they don't have their own. So that's why it's important to get clarity. All right. Now, and then empower them. Always at the end is always empower them, because once they're feeling empowered, now they can move forward. Okay. Pop quiz. Value time. Kayla, this is for you. Pop quiz. You get money, fear, value, partner. What's the most efficient order?
Uh-oh. Money, fear, value, partner. Well,
Yeah.
money, because we have to, I think. I would say money first, full, partial, none. Don't solve it. I don't want to cheat in the chat. Then I think, I don't know if it's partner or value and then fear at the end.
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. Can I phone a friend?
So you said
Money.
full partial, none first.
Yeah.
And then you said what's next?
I'm gonna go value. I'll go value, partner, fear.
So close. So close yet so far.
Oh, shoot.
Nicholas, can you help?
I'm gonna try to save this. So I think value first, because if it's not valuable, then there's no point in even talking about money. Then you go to partner, then you go to fear.
Yeah, and then last is always solve the money logistics.
But yeah, bring it back.
Yeah. So exactly. If value's in the equation, you've got to handle value first, because nothing else matters if they don't even think it's worth $3K to get a coach. Doesn't matter if they have the full $3K if they don't think it's worth it. And when it comes to fitness or anything really, if they say they don't feel like it's worth it, it's either A, you jacked up the pitch, you didn't personalize it enough, you didn't sell enough, or B, they don't think they are worth it, which is a problem for a psychotherapist, but we're going to do what we can, you know? So that is it. Value first. Write this down, all V-Shred people. Value first, and then full, partial, none, and then partner, fear, and then solve the money logistics. Sezzle. Okay? Financing. That is how you do it.